to point out those lacunas there, and why we have not been able to really work for the preservation, protection, and yeah. So हाँ अभी दिख रहा है ठीक है. Is it okay? You can
Yeah.
hear me?
Yes, yes. We can.
हाँ ठीक है. हाँ. Let me mute the. Okay, fine. So what has happened here? That we had 198 initially, the list of endangered languages for India, and out of that, Khasi in 2012 was withdrawn. The reasons I'll mention a little later why it was withdrawn and what effect it has, withdrawal of the Khasi language from the list of endangered languages. You can go to next. Yeah, next.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is okay. And you will see one thing I'll tell you that if you start from say 1901 census and go up to 2011, we see that many languages or mother tongues were not present in 1901 or 1951 censuses. Like in 1951 census, we had only 767 languages and dialects they mentioned. The mother tongue was not used in 1951. The term they used was language oblique dialect. So because they were not sure whether they are languages or the mother tongues or dialects. So out of so you can see out of 767, we had only 84 mother tongues or languages which were endangered, which are now we see that they are endangered. Then in 1961, out of 1652 mother tongues, we had 159 of the present day endangered languages. And in 2001 census, we had 163 languages from the list of endangered languages given by Atlas. Next slide, please. Yeah. Is it okay? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just trying to. It's not moving forward. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry for the technical hitches.
That will happen from Shillong. Things are not so good. One thing that is problematic in the list of endangered languages given in Atlas is that since the research is not based on empirical data or study research methodology, so what has happened? They have. It seems that they have just picked up a few names given by some people from India and abroad, and that's why we find that many of the names are repetitions actually. You'll see that the two languages are mentioned, but they refer to one and the same language, or there are certain dialects or varieties which have been listed as languages. And for example, I've given some like Bokar, Bori, Milang, Minyong, Padam, Pasi, Tangam, which are listed in the atlas. They are actually the varieties or dialects of the Adi language. Similarly, Andro, Senbai, they are varieties of the Manipuri language spoken by some of the Loi communities, the scheduled caste communities of Manipur. Similarly, Bhalesi, Padri in Jammu and Kashmir, they actually are varieties of Bhadravahi. Bangni, Mara, Na, Tagin, they are actually varieties of Nisi or Nishi. Nike, which is variety of southwestern Kolami. Baghati is a variety of Mahasui. Jaunsari, variety of Garwali. Birhor and Asuri, actually variety of Santali. And then two names referring to the same language, Nirangmai and Kabui. They refer to the same language, Kabui, which has another mother tongue. Then we have Shangla, Mothua Menba, and Lishpa, which are actually varieties of Monpa. Koireng and Liangmai, they are two names for the same language. Balti and Puri, they are same, actually two varieties, and they refer to one and the same language. They are varieties of the Ladakhi language, which is a cluster of many languages and mother tongues. And I have taken this data from various ethnologue records. And if you go there, you will see in 1996, 2000, 2005, 2009, at the time of preparation of this atlas, you see all this corresponds to the ethnologue data. If you go inside, you will see that inside Boker, they will say alternate name Adi, Bori alternate name Adi, Milang alternate name Adi, and so on. Shangla, you'll find that alternate name is Motua Menba. Nrangmai, you will find that alternate name is Kabui, and so on. Next one, please. Keep moving.
Yeah, I'm trying, sorry. I don't know why it's not. Yeah.
Could see. Okay, now, so see, out of 197, I have the detail of for all the languages in the atlas. I have selected some where you can see that what mistakes have been made when they enumerated the endangered languages of India. Like we have two entries for Aka, and the second entry, Aka in atlas, says its alternate name is Jebel Sherlock, which actually is not a language or mother tongue of India. It is spoken in Sudan. If you look at Andhro, it's in reality dialect of Manipuri, but they have shown it as extinct. But the fact is that it is spoken even today by, as I mentioned, by some of the SC or Loi communities in Manipur. Asur is also, as I have given here the details, you can see, as far as like Bhattacharya in 1975, he made a research and he concluded that Asuri is a dialect of Santali, and Santali, Mundari, and Ho are very closely allied. Mahali, Karmali, Korwa, Kora, Asuri, Turi, Agaria, Bhumiz, Bihor, and Birjia are regarded as dialects of one and the same language, which was named as Kherwari by Grierson. So, and Asurs are actually nomadic. So wherever they go, they speak the local language or mother tongue. So if they are located in Santali speaking area, they'll speak Santali, and of course, they, depending on their class or the profession, some variation in pronunciation or lexical items may be there. Baghati, dialect of Lower Mahasu Pahari, a dialect of Mahasu itself. Ethnologue mentions in all the records, even up to 2018. And Masika also said that it's a dialect of Western Pahari. Bangni, in Atlas you'll find that alternate names of Bangni are Nishi, Nishi, Nisi in Atlas. And this is actually alternate name of Dafla, Nisi, Nisi, or Nishi as given in Ethnologue. And it is grouped as mother tongue under Nisi or Dafla in census. Thus, the two entries, Bangni and Nishi, actually constitute one language. They are not two different languages mentioned in the atlas. Next, please. I think I can see this.
Actually, there's some problem, I think, with the.
So you can show the PDF maybe.
Okay, let me.
Okay, or yeah, try PDF. In the meantime, I'll speak from what I have in my phone and the PDF. Okay. Then I have mentioned Bhumis. You see, Bhumis, actually, there are like ethnic community. There are some 25 lakh Bhumis ethnic members of the community. but they don't all speak Bhumis. And Bhumis in reality is a variety of Mundari. Actually, it's some differences are there, and I have given some references. Nigam and Dasgupta and 1964 that Mundari and Bhumis are same, and actually Bhumis speak uh, Mundari. Thar means the local language, the variation, the mixed language. Then I have also given you uh, data from Riesle, which also said, Grierson also mentioned that actually the Bhumis actually speak Mundari, not separate language. Then in 2015, we had a socio-linguistic survey of the Bhumis people of India, and I have quoted from there. And they also conclude that it is not possible to say from the data that Bhumis and Mundari are separate languages. And they also took intelligibility test, and that also indicated that most Bhumis understand colloquial Mundari speech well, and the final conclusion was that Bhumis and Mundari actually are same. It's not a separate language. Then look at Barmauri. That also is actually a dialect of Gaddi, as given in Ethnologue, and Masika also mentions that. Biete, which has alternate name in Atlas as Baite, Bete, Biate, and Barua, P.N. Datta Barua, and Bapui in 1996. They also compared the Biate with Halam varieties and Mar, and they concluded that it's actually a dialect of Mar. Now that apart, if you look at the situation in Tripura, we have a language called Halam, which is there in census, non-scheduled. But Halam, if you go and look for Halam language, you won't find it in Tripura. So what you will find actually will be Rangkhol or Ranglong or Biate, Mulsom, and some Rupini, some 11 varieties will be there. So you cannot say that this is Halam. Halam is actually name of the large group, the cluster, the umbrella term, which includes 11 varieties. And what
Sorry,
happens actually, yeah.
sorry to interrupt you. Uh, I'm showing the seventh slide. Is the
Oh, okay, okay.
shall I move forward?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
You go to, let me see my phone. Yeah, seven. Move to, yeah, yeah. Seventh is okay. Seventh and
Seventh
the
is
other.
okay.
Fine. You move. Uh, yeah. So what happens? So let's look at Biate. So the Halam, you will find that there are 11 groups, and in Northeast, as I mentioned earlier somewhere, that 105 languages or mother tongues from Northeast are in the Atlas, and there are about 118 tribal languages and mother tongues from all over India. Now, out of these 105, Biate is of course one. So what you find in Northeast, ethnicity is more important. So even if you have one tribe or one community, you'll find there are various sub-tribes. And sub-tribe or tribe, they people think that it must have a language, separate language. For example, what happened recently in Manipur, we had a language called Mao, and the Paumais were included in that. It's a sub-tribe of Mao, and they kind of understand the Mao variety, standard variety, Mao variety very well. But in 2003, they got the status of ST from Government of India, and now they think that since Paumoi is a separate tribe, so it must have a language. And La means language in their mother tongue. So Paumoi has a language called Paula. But we have compared the structures of two languages. There are variations, of course, which is natural. It happens in English, Hindi, Bangla, Tamil. And you have along the continuum, two varieties may be very much different. That happens in, as we know, in English, Hindi, many varieties, Tamil, even in Bangla, we have varieties where two varieties located at two different poles on a continuum, they are not so well intelligible. So same thing happened in Mao and Paula, but so Paula language has been added, and because of that, what happens? that Mao used to have a large number of population, Mao speaking population, but in 2011 census, now Mao speakers number has decreased because some 1 lakh Paula mother tongue speakers have been added. So language remains Mao, but we have Mao and Paula as two mother tongues under Mao. Similarly, if you look at Atlas, you'll find inside Koireng, they say that there is another name for Koireng, which is Liangmai. And we have various reports of ethnologue, which says that actually Liangmai and Koireng are one and the same language. And this is true also. Long time ago, in 1931 census, 1951 census, we find the same to be true. Then there is another language in Atlas, Kundal Shahi. Kundal Shahi actually is not spoken at all in India, but they have included it as a language in the Atlas as a language of India. And this is what is exactly quoted under Kundal Shahi in the Atlas. So it talks about Pakistan, 500 speakers. So we can just exclude that. Kuru is another language. So Kuru, they'll mention in the Atlas that Kuru has alternate name Yerukula. And we know from census and other researches, a lot of work has been done on Yerukula, that Yerukula has another name Kuru or Kuru Bhasha. I'll mention before going to other slides. Actually, what Atlas has done, that they have selected those names randomly which are not in common use either in census or in some other say even in ethnologue. There are many names which are not mentioned in ethnologue, like census has say 1635 mother tongues in 2001, but ethnologue will have 428, 417, 473 at the most languages in various ethnologue annual reports. So what they have done, they have chosen those names which are not commonly used, and some other say common names for Kuru is one such example. Now let's look at Liangmai. Now if Koireng and Liangmai refer to the same language according to Atlas, then why two entries for Koireng and Liangmai? Now Milang, if you look at Atlas, they will say alternate name of Milang is Adi. So there should not be a list. If Adi is already endangered and Adi is another name for Milang, then you don't need a separate entry. So actually what happens, see, they were unaware, whoever gave them the data about Indian languages, that when you have so many varieties or dialects, then one of them has to be standard. So the moment you say Adi is a language and Adi is endangered, so it includes all the varieties, isn't it? You don't have to list it separately. Now look at this current slide, Kachari. See, Kachari actually once upon a time was Bodo, alternate name of Bodo, and then we had Hill Kachari and Plain Kachari. Plain Kachari is like Bodo, and Hill Kachari included Dimasa, and some Kacharis moved to Nagaland, and they still retain the name Kachari. Although if you look at the mother tongue data for the scheduled tribes in 2001 or 91 or 2011 census, you'll find that the Kacharis of Nagaland actually speak either Bodo, Dimasa, or some other Naga language. So there is no language called Kachari, and I've given a complete list. Another language is Lishpa. Again, Atlas mentions Lishpa has a alternate name Monpa. So Monpa is the most popular name, including all its varieties, whether it's Chuana or Motuo, all the varieties. But they have chosen Lishpa here and shown it as an endangered language separately. Next is Mesh. Now Mesh, see in all the documents, researchers will find that actually Mesh is either a variety of Bodo, and even in some documents you'll find that Mesh is either given as alternate name of Bodo or it's a variety. So Mesh also need not be there. Next is Mra. Now Mra, Na, these languages didn't exist in say 1950 1951 and other censuses. In 1961, you'll find there were only few speakers. And even now, Atlas also finds that it is rough estimate that Mara has 350 speakers. They do not know for sure that how many speakers are there. And if you look at the number for Bangni and Mara, they are both 350. So it could be that they are two different names given by the people. But according to our records, census and the researches that we have in India from Arunachal Pradesh also, we find that Mra and say Bangni, Nishi, they should actually go together and should not be listed as a separate endangered language. Yeah. Now let's move quickly to. So we can skip. So I've given you. You can read if you want. Just have a cursory glance. So Mra, then Mazimi. See, Mazimi is not used in any of the recent documents. Whether linguists from Northeast or researchers, they don't use it. We know that Zemi is there, and Zemi had another name, as Matsov has given. That it was also called Mazimi, and then Sridhar in his research finds that Nazuma is a dialect, sub-dialect of the Mazimi dialect of Zemi. So actually Mazimi is either alone, another name for Zemi, or a variety of Zemi. Similarly, Na I have already mentioned that you'll see that in Atlas also, in Na they will say it's variety of Bangni, and which is mother tongue under Nishi. Rangmai I have already mentioned. Minyong again, Atlas says alternate name of Minyong is Adi. So why two are listed separately as endangered? Motuo Menba, alternate name is Shangla. And now you'll find in the list that Shangla is another entry for endangered language. Padam, alternate name is Adi. Pasi, alternate name is Adi according to Atlas. Ruga, all the researchers say that it is either variety. There are some differences, and you'll find that intelligibility is not 100%. As I already mentioned, that over a dialect continuum, it's possible that two varieties may be quite dissimilar, and they'll have difficulty in understanding each other. But Ruga, according to all the researchers, we find that it's actually a dialect of Garo. Purik, see, all the documents say, including Matisov, that Purik is a variety of Balti. So Balti and Purik, I have the list already there. I'm not showing it to you, but if you look at the lexical items from Balti and Purik, and even some sentences, they can very well understand it. More than 90% intelligibility is there. Only thing is that Balti is spoken by the Muslims in JNK, and Purik is spoken by all, especially the Buddhists. So what happens in Balti variety, you'll find more lexical items from Persian and Arabic. That's the only difference. Otherwise, they can understand each other very well. Rongpa now, alternate name is Rongpa or Rongpo in Atlas. And it says that it doesn't have the exact number of speakers. But in ethnologue, you'll find that Rongpa has alternate name like Rankas, Rangpa, Marcha, Tolcha. These are pejorative name, Tolcha and Marcha. So as the alternate names of Rongpo with a population of 7,500, then Tolcha appears as a mother tongue in recent censuses also. So it's neither the so Rongpa is actually same as Tolcha and also Rankas. So you cannot list both Rongpa and Tolcha as endangered languages. And Tolcha, according to Atlas, is actually an extinct language. But if Rankas or Rongpa is alternate name of Tolcha, then it can't be said to be extinct. I have already mentioned Rankas. Sengmai, another extinct language according to Atlas. So you'll find that is still spoken in Manipur by the Loi or scheduled caste communities. And the only difference between the standard Manipuri and Sengmai and Andhro is that there are some lexical variations due to their profession, and also some phonological variations, A and E, A and U, etc. Shangla I have already mentioned. Now, Atlas also has some languages, endangered languages, for which it doesn't have number of speakers. Now, the question arises, for example, Atong, Balti, Belari, Bhalesi, Jad, go back. I think that's 15, number 15. So, Khasali, Langrong, Manda, Padri, Purum, Spiti, Jangskari, for these languages, Atlas doesn't know how many speakers are there. Now, if the numbers are unknown, then how do we know that whether it is intergenerationally transmitted or not? So, how do you decide whether these languages, so-called languages, are actually endangered or not? Whether transmission is taking place intergenerational or not, and other things. So it can't be decided. So that also has to be made straight. Okay, now go to next slide. See, Atlas has some criteria like safe language where intergenerational transmission is taking place, or unsafe if only say older generation people talk in that language, it is not passed on to younger generation, and where some grandfather or grandmothers only speak a language. Accordingly, we have critically endangered, definitely endangered, and so on. But if you look at the growth of these endangered languages given in the atlas, we find that almost all of them have grown well. For example, you can see the table. Anal we had in 1961 4,875, in 2001 23,191, then 2011 27,207. So you can see Angami similarly, Ao, Apatani, Badaga, Barmauri, Bodo, Bhumis, Vishnupriya, Manipur, they have all increased considerably. And I've not given that name in this list. And there is one language called endangered Tarao. In 1961, it had only one speaker. So actually, Tarao is not a separate language related to some migrant who went from Nagaland or say some other state of Northeast. And so there was only one speaker in 1961. And now today we have about 900 speakers of Tarao in Manipur. So even the smaller minor languages also, you see, they have increased in number in terms of number of speakers, all of them. You can see in the list. Go on. And what I have not listed is that for some languages like Sema, Tiva, Devri, Phom, you'll find that their numbers have not increased. But that also is a misnomer. Actually, what happens, see, in Nagaland, Chakesang, Kheza, and Sangtam, like Chakesang is a group, and there we have Chokri, Kheza, and Sangtam. And then we have another language name called Jeliang in the census. And later on, Jeliang Rong, it was called, Rong was added. So actually, it's a conglomeration of Zemi, Liangmai, and Rongmai. Now, so what happens actually for Chakru or Keja or even Sema, if you find that the numbers have gone down in different census, that's because there are about 15 lakh generic Naga tribes in Nagaland. And if you look at the mother tongue of the Naga generic tribes, you'll find that there are thousands of Sema speakers, Keja speakers, Chokri speakers, and similarly in Jeliang, if you see, Jeliang will include Jemi, Liangmai, and also Rongmai. So you'll find that if you look at the mother tongues, then you'll find that there are thousands of speakers included there. So actually, it's not that some languages, the number of speakers have gone down really. The thing is that they are included in some other group as well. And that's why the census doesn't reflect them. Because if it's generic tribe, then say specific tribes and their languages will not be mentioned in the census. So that's why we see that some languages have lost speakers, but in reality, they have not lost speakers. But Tiva, Devri like languages, they have some problems. And it's historical because Tiva and Devri are related to, say, Bodo language, Bodo Garo family. And so it's possible since intelligibility is there, so it's possible that due to long contact, they have moved to either Assamese, the language of the region, the state language, or it's also possible that most of them have moved to Bodo or related languages. Dimasa, I have the data. If you look at the census, mother tongue data for the scheduled tribes separately, you'll see that that is actually the reality, that they have moved to Assamese. So only a few languages in the endangered language list are really endangered. This is what I want to emphasize, because most of them are dialects, varieties, or two names for the same language. And then if you remove these, what I have mentioned, then we are left with only about 50 really endangered languages. Now, let's go to next slide. There is variation in status and category. See, that also is misleading. I have given only 12 here. See, Garhwali has more than 27 lakh speakers, and it's vulnerable. And Shedukpen has only 3,000 speakers. That also is vulnerable. Then Gata has 3,000 speakers. It's severely endangered. And then Aiton has 2,000. Mesh has 1,000, and they are also severely endangered. Now, if you look at definitely endangered languages, the examples, Dakpa with 1,000, then Churahi with 61,000, and Badiga with 1,34,000, a little more than that. They are all definitely endangered. The question arises, how do we know? See, as I have shown you that in the growth of endangered languages, that all have increased considerably in terms of number of speakers. So that means if in 10, 20 years the number is increasing, then the intergenerational transmission does take place. Otherwise, the numbers won't increase. So critically endangered or severely endangered or definitely endangered, because it's not intergenerationally transmitted, that is not true. And so the numbers itself tell you that this is mismatching. Then let's look at the documentation. Another thing that is said that we have languages which are endangered because we do not know about them. Number one, they don't have writing systems and they are not used in various domains. But what I have shown here, that I have taken only a few, especially those which are spoken by more than 10,000 persons. So almost 99% of the list that I have given, the languages here and mother tongues, they will match with the 2001 and 2011 censuses, because they are mostly spoken by more than 10,000 persons. So you can see that whatever actually is a language, like Adi is a language, whereas Minyong, Padam, Pasi, or Tangam, they are not separate languages. They are varieties of Adi. So that's why the education is done in Adi up to some level. It has a script in use, and we have descriptions, whether grammar and PhD thesis both, and also a dictionary. So you can see that for most of them, where the bold ones are the languages or mother tongues which are listed in the census. And there are two languages, Bodo and Manipuri. They are in capitals. That means they are scheduled languages. Go down a little. So the bold ones are the languages which are included as non-scheduled in the censuses, except Bodo and Manipuri, which are written in capitals. So you see that wherever we have language, the descriptions are available, well documented, and they are also using one or the other form of writing system, whether it's borrowed or like Devanagari, Roman, or Perso-Arabic, Assamese, Bengali, Oriya, etc., or they have their own indigenous writing system. So that also is not true, that the endangered languages are becoming endangered because they don't have writing system. See, you cannot write all the varieties. Then the idea of language and variety or language and dialect will go away. If you start reducing all the varieties to writing, and you have grammars and dictionaries separately for the varieties, and use all the varieties as language in schools or colleges, then they all become standard by the process of standardization. So that distinction will go away. Okay, let's move to next, ma'am. Someone is speaking. So this is what I have selected and given you a list where you can see that almost all the languages, non-scheduled languages and scheduled languages, they are all used in education. 118 actually in India, and there are 35 varieties of scripts writing systems, and these non-scheduled and scheduled languages do use, whether they are endangered or not, they all use some kind of writing system for themselves. Then let's go to next slide. कोई बोल रहा है बहुत बीच में बच्चा 31. Yeah. Now see what happened. The atlas gives us the Khasi was withdrawn in 2012, and they gave certain reasons for that, which is mentioned there. The justification was that the status of this language was reassessed by the editorial board of the atlas, which concluded that Khasi may be classified. Yeah. नहीं, ये delete हो गया क्या? You have added new slide. Just go to next one. I think you have inserted a new slide. कौन बोल रहा है पीछे? चुप हो जाओ भाई. Okay, so it was reassessed, and since it was an associate official language and it was used in various domains like radio, television, religion, and school education, so it was considered safe. Now, if these are the criteria of remaining safe, which is true for most of the languages, बोल रहा है, बहुत बोल रहा है कोई. So then that applies to most of the non-scheduled languages of census.
Sorry for the interruption, Avdesh ji. Let me announce because I'm trying to write also, but someone is not taking care of it. Please अपने mic को mute कर लीजिए. Kindly mute yourself. Don't disturb the speaker. Please, yes, Avdesh ji, please.
Yeah. So what happens? So if say Khasi for these regions is safe, so is true. Again, Garo is safe for the same region. It was not included in the list. So now Bodo, which is a scheduled language, Meitei, Manipuri is a scheduled language. Kokborok, Lepcha, Limbu, Bhutia, Kuro, Kharia, Ho, Mundari, Mizo, Sherpa, Tamang. These are all official languages, associate official languages in their respective states, and two are even in the 8th schedule, and all of them are used in school education, and many are used at colleges and universities also. Radio and television programs are there. They conduct their religious meetings, etc. in these languages. So why not these languages become safe, given the same criteria which was applied for Khasi? Next one. Then there are some other languages or mother tongues which are there in the atlas. They are not official languages of the state, of course, but they are very well used in school and college education. You'll find that some are used in schools, some in colleges, and language like Angami or Angika, they are even taught up to post-graduation level. PhD is also done in these languages, and they are there in radio, of course, for a short period of time, but they are used in radio, television, they are used in mass media, many of them, and for religious purposes also. So why they still remain endangered? Yeah, so as can be seen from the atlas, most of the mother tongues, they were not researched, as I already mentioned, and there was some motivated research. And what happens actually, see, most of the researchers were foreigners, and for Indian system, the Indian polity and the society, we need to also take care of the history, and isn't it? The culture, the sociology and anthropology of the Indian tribal or non-tribal communities. So language, as they understand in the West or America, we cannot understand language in the same terms in India. So what happens? They had motivated research. I'll briefly mention here that look at, see, most of the data has been taken from the Ethnologue. Now, Ethnologue is one institution. What they have done, for them, language also has a religion. See, in India, we never considered that. Like, yeah, you go to Ethnologue for any year and look, click the more information thing, you'll find the last item is religion and colon, then religion will be given. So Hindi, you'll find that Hindi is language of India and the last item will be Hindu. In Urdu, you'll find first line will be Urdu is a language of Pakistan, also spoken in India, etc. Varieties, vitality, and last thing will be religion, that is Urdu. For Balti, you'll find the religion is Muslim. For Purik, you'll find the religion is Buddhist. For Garhwali, Kumauni, you'll find the religion is Hindu. So see, I'm not saying it, I may be wrong, but looks like that what has happened, see, the purpose of SIL and Ethnologue is different. Not really, they are not really into endangered languages so much. The purpose was that translate the Bible in all the languages and mother tongues over, say, all the countries of the world. So wherever they see that, okay, the Bible has not been translated, so those languages were given prominence. Otherwise, why will, see, census mention 1652 mother tongues, including foreign mother tongues, then 1635 in 2001 and 1369 in 2011, but Ethnologue never went beyond 480 or so. And then also in Ethnologue, the names of languages keep changing. So in 1996, there were 400, say 17 languages. Out of that, some 40 were deleted and new languages were added in 2005, and the number came to 428, but many names were deleted. See, Angika, for example, it was considered for many years in Ethnologue. There is a variety of Maithili, and now at some point of time, it became 2009, it became a separate language. Ruga was mentioned at the variety of a dialect of Garo, but later on, as the preparation for Atlas was going on, it became a language. Atong never appeared in any document earlier, but suddenly it becomes a language. There are so many examples, at least 52 I have analyzed where this is true. That, and even the same two names for the same language will of course be there. Like bomb. See, bomb is even endangered, and bomb is mentioned in Ethnologue also. But we know the reality that bomb, BAWM, is actually as bomb. It's not spoken in India. It's spoken. See, the Lai or Pois, the variety of Mizos, the sub-tribes who went to Bangladesh or who live at the border of Mizoram and Bangladesh, they only speak this variety and they call their mother tongue as Bom. But for us, it's either Lai or Poi in India. So many languages, new languages were created in Ethnologue, and many languages or mother tongues this way we lost because we had some names in Ethnologue. We had some names. Yeah. So what happens that, so we had some names there, and they, Ethnologue and Atlas, they randomly picked and chose some varieties or some names from here and there, and then they came up with a list of endangered languages. I'll take about only 5 minutes or so. Okay. Okay. So now I would like to conclude. I have given a list of what needs to be actually done. So this I forgot to actually type it. That should be the first one. You can go to what we can, what can we do? The yeah. So I forgot to type it in a hurry today. One thing is that we need to make the writing system standard, the orthography. What has happened actually for languages, most of the tribal languages, which are, as I mentioned, 105 are there in Northeast. So they do have one or the other script, but it's not standardized. So what happens? They hesitate using the language. Like if mother tongue has to go into school education, they do not know that the words that they speak in a certain way, how it has to be reduced in writing. So Bible may be there in sorry for the net connectivity. Yeah. So what happens? So certain things are written, like literary societies.
Mishra ji, I think you have mute yourself.
I'm sorry. Yeah. So what we also so we need to conduct more research so that we know exactly that which linguistic code is actually used by which specific speech community. For example, Birhor we say that is say speech community. We say mention that Birhor or Birzia, but we do not know for sure that what linguistic code they are actually using. See, what happens if, say, suppose under spell program or some under other endangered language program, the researcher is aware of only the current data. If someone is working on Biror or Birzia, so what will happen that the person will be concerned only data of that these two mother tongues, but that person may not have any knowledge of Mundari or Santali or Ho or the Kherwa terms. That how these languages, Mundari, Ho, Khadia, developed from the same stock, like Indo-Aryan, modern Indo-Aryan languages developed from, say, Apabhransha and Prakrit. So if a person knows and works only on one speech community and the variety is spoken by them, and if he is not aware of other varieties, then it will be biased again, and the true picture will not emerge. So that also is needed. Then we also need to expand the functional domains. Actually, what has happened that languages are shifting to other languages, or they are becoming endangered because their functional domain is shrinking. So they are not used in any other than the home domain. They are not being used in any other domain. So if they are used in school education, local administration, and we have a good example. We have two states, Jharkhand and Sikkim. What they have done is that Jharkhand has made 13 languages in mother tongue, whether they are scheduled or non-scheduled, as their associate official language. And they are also taught at the post-graduation level. They have literature. They have even small newspapers or online newspapers. They are also used in education. Sikkim has 11 in all total. They have 11 languages and mother tongues, and Sikkim has made since 1975 all the 11 languages and mother tongues as official languages of Sikkim. And they are used from school to college level, most of them, Newari and Sunwar, Sherpa, Tamang, because they have only few speakers, so many children are not there. But they are taught in the school. They have made the provisions for teachers. Textbooks are there. The training happens there. Even separate departments of translation is there in the MHRD, Human Resource Development in Sikkim, for all the 11 languages. So for Sunwar or Newari or Sherpa or Tamang, you'll find separate branches for translation also, because they're official languages. So these are the steps. If we take, the government takes, then what will happen? The functional domain will increase. And yeah, you can, and I have also mentioned that, see, we need to make these endangered or even non-endangered languages more visible. See, people, language, since it resides in the brain, so people want to see that, okay, I'm speaking it, but how do I see it? So there are, either if they are used in these domains, grammars and dictionaries are there. If it's online, like under Bharatvani, if they are seen there visibly, no, on the internet, in the web world, then that will increase their visibility, and then they will have more respect for their mother tongue themselves, the speech communities, and also others will also respect. We need to respect them, give them more respect, treat them with dignity, and when we enhance their visibility by enhancing their functional domains, then of course these languages will have no problem of, say, revitalization or remaining alive. Last thing that I'll say, that see, when we talk about revitalization, we select only few of the endangered languages, and we forget most of them. It's like 80-85% are forgotten, and we take care of only 15 to 20% of these endangered languages. The number one problem is because most of them are varieties, you won't find the speakers. And even if you find the speakers, like Tangam, in 2011 census, there are only 7 speakers. So see, for some you'll find there are only 17 speakers. For Tarao, language like Tarao, we have only 890 speakers. So what will happen, that when you think of revitalization, these languages cannot be given equal status as, say, Manipuri or Kuruk or Kharia or Mundari, say Tamil, etc., because most of them are varieties. Say like Irula or Kuruva, they cannot be given the same status as that of Tamil or Kannada. So what I'm saying, lastly, I will conclude that the language dialect is a good, say, distinction, and it's even now it's useful. Many documents, especially Western scholars, they say that let's do away with the term dialect. But no, the Indian multilingual situation, the Indian ethos is different. So they enrich each other, the language and dialect. So that has to be maintained, and we only have to remember that all varieties and dialects cannot be given the same space and same domains. So some will be used in some domains, and the other varieties will be used in some other domains. So if you take care of all these things that I have mentioned here, then we can really revitalize them. It's not possible, given the current list of endangered languages atlas, that will not be able to bring all the 197 languages up to the same level, equal status, and will not be, actually, it's impractical and not feasible also to assign or give, say, Adi, Padam, Birhor, Birjia or Turi, all the dialects and varieties the same status as Santali or Adi or Nishi. That is not possible. So the linguists, especially through, I would urge the SEL society that they have already begun this exercise. They are doing well. That we focus on the suggestions that I made. That let's not go for blindly following the endangered language list of the atlas. We ourselves can find some methodology, do some researches, and then come up with the number of, or actually to find out which languages or mother tongues are really endangered. I have worked on some languages mother tongues, and I have seen even Santali, which is a scheduled language, and my own mother tongue Maithili, they are dying from within, because the census will tell you that so many speakers are there. The ethnologue will tell you that so many speakers are there, but actually the younger generation do not use it in all the domains and all the time. So they are losing language from, and also the vocabulary, the lexical items are, because of globalization and the pressure of multilingualism, the words are dying. Thousands of words in Kudukh, Maithili, Santali languages like that, which are well known and even in scheduled language list, they are also dying. Khadiya is there from Jharkhand. They are dying from within. So let's have our own methodology, more research, and find out which languages or mother tongues are actually endangered, like Tiwa, Devri, I forgot to mention, Rabha. So, and then make a plan that which domains can be assigned to these languages, and what government can do and what linguists can do and the societies can also do. We all have to come together. Then only we can really take care of the endangered languages, whether potentially or vulnerable or severely endangered languages. And last sentence, that some people have been spreading this say news or idea that in past 50 years 240 or more languages have died, but that is not true for India. No language has died. You ask those people that to mention even one language, they can't, except for some 5 or 6 languages or varieties in the Andaman and Nicobar, and of course Ahom, which I don't consider it to be a dead language. It has developed into something else. So we have different Tai-Kadai languages and mother tongues. So it developed into something else, and now that variety, that form of Tai Ahom has disappeared. That is true. So it's not true that languages have actually died. Not to talk of 240, not even one has died in the real sense. So that's all I have to say. I can take up questions. That will be better. Thank you so much for listening to me.
Thank you very much, Professor Mishra.
Thank
And
you.
now I would request all the participants to kindly write your questions in the chat box so that we
Yeah,
can
someone.
coordinate. And if you want to ask, I think Mishra ji will prefer if you um, do you want them to ask themselves? Yeah, then you can, participants can ask
Yeah, let me
because,
see. Hmm, yeah.
please unmute yourself
See, I
and
speak from the heart. Not I don't read. So maybe things may be disorganized at times and not coherent. So if you have any question, that would be better. Uh,
it was a
Let it be
wonderful.
very novice also. Don't hesitate or feel shy. It can be very primary type of question. No problem, because our goal is to understand the real situation, and so that will guide. If you understand the situation better, then that will guide us in making our plans in a proper way. Yeah, Vishakha,
Sir,
I can see.
yes, sir. All the alternate names of the languages listed
Mhm.
are. Do you think these are actually dialects of the languages? All the
Uh, See,
alternate
I,
names.
there are some 2, 3, like in Mishmi, you will find that
Yeah.
among the 3 varieties, so 2 will be, say, like Idu will be so much different from Miju Mishmi. It's possible. But see,
Yes.
language, see, you cannot call a language only because of some linguistic facts or regions. The people's, no, their idea, their opinion also matters, because language is a socio-political construct. So,
Yes.
socio-political. So, socio means the people's their own opinion,